Hi friends, this is your pal Scott Garibay, and today I'm going to do a video response to Tabletop Family's question: could you play Dungeons and Dragons with a Trump supporter? That's a great question. All right, so I'm going to answer it. Yes, I could. Now, answering the question in full, though, I think the question is, are you willing to and the reason why he was asking it is Tabletop Family Dad. Like, he has a bunch of people on his channel, so I'm just gonna say Tabletop Family Dad to be specific who I'm talking about, because he has different people speaking on his channel. His family. I think his wife was on there the other day, which I thought was really fascinating. So basically, it is this question of so he's saying, hey, and the reason why he said it in the video, the reason he's asking is there's people now who are like, oh, no, if you support Trump, I'm not going to play with you. So that's a good question, right? So yes, I would have a Trump supporter sit at my table, and at the same time, I would have somebody who voted for Biden sit at the table too. What's interesting, though, is what his question really opens. It's definitely a Pandora's box. So let's kind of dig into everything it opens. So one of the things I thought was interesting is I love open questions like this, right? So he's saying, and I think most people just jump in the comments, but I love to be able to, because I have a platform, I can give a much fuller answer. So I'm going to do that, right? So what I think is really interesting is he's asking, could you have a Trump supporter at your table? What's really fascinating is I think Trump is such a divisive figure that there are a lot of people like me, right? So I am a Trump voter, but not a Trump supporter. I think that's pretty fascinating, right? So one, I voted for Trump. I really don't like Trump. I don't even respect him. I think he's an evil man, right? But the reason why I voted for him is one, I voted for Andrew Yang in 2020, and I actually right here on my channel you'll find hundreds of videos of me encouraging people to vote for Andrew Yang. I don't regret for 1 minute the time I spent asking people to get Andrew Yang to the top of the Democrat ticket. I think it was time well spent. Actually, it's time I don't regret. It was not time well spent. It was a waste of time. No third party is ever going to be around in our lifetime. I'll tell you that right now. I don't think you would need 25 years of adjustment before a third party could be viable. No third party is viable right now. If you vote for third parties, you are throwing away your vote. That was a hard learned lesson for me. I don't like that that's the circumstance, but don't throw away your vote. Your vote matters, right? And so I had to choose between President Joseph Biden and President Donald Trump. And here's the thing. Between 2016 and 2020, crime was down, inflation was down, and war was down. And between 2020 and 2024, crime visited me personally at a level I had never seen before in my life. I suffered more crime. I suffered crime at a higher frequency and a higher severity than I had ever suffered in my entire life. Right? It was catastrophic. Right? I suffered real, personal, private loss because of crime that came literally to my front door. Right? And I'm not comfortable with it. And I 100% believe Biden was responsible for it. Biden was responsible for my losses to American crime between 2020 and 2024, personally, in my opinion, right? Inflation through the roof. Not only could I have people I love that I want to be able to buy houses. Forget that. They couldn't even buy eggs, right? Like, it was outrageous. The inflation was through the roof, and war was everywhere. Huge, war in Israel, huge, like hundreds of thousands dead in Ukraine. Like, there were people openly saying we were all that World War III had already started, and that didn't sound outrageous to me. It sounded right up to So come on. Trump lies through his teeth. He's got 3 wives and he has a casino, right? If you're a Christian, come on. Let's call the kettle what the kettle is, right? Like, it's just, we need to be plain. right? He's evil. He is evil. No, now, make no mistake, just about every evangelical in the country voted for him. But every one of those evangelicals knows Trump is an evil man. So why on earth would anyone vote for an evil person? Well, the reality is the evil plans of a leader who wishes to remain in power are better than the unicorn hopes and dreams and pixie fairy dust, like intended good of President Joseph Biden. It didn't work. Right? Like, it was just like none of it worked. It like, look at this. Just look at the numbers, right? Like 2016 to 2020, chicken in every pot, 2 cars in every driveway, and then 2020 to 2024, you can't get eggs, right? Like, we literally couldn't even buy eggs. Like, it was bonkers, right? It was just, so that's how you end up being a Trump voter, but not a Trump supporter. So I don't support Trump, but I did vote for him, right? And so, because it was very clearly the lesser of two evils, but I could not endure another 4 years of Democrats, right? Okay. So with all that put on the shelf, another thing that his video really brought to mind is, one, Dungeons & Dragons. Every single Dungeons & Dragons table is outrageously political, okay? First of all, Dungeons & Dragons for a long time has been extremely left. They are very woke. Now, that is changing right now. And the reason why is woke is dead. I don't know if you caught this, but woke is completely dead, right? President Donald Trump beat the Democrats so bad that literally, Pod Save America was saying stuff like, we got to really look at what we're doing, right? And the Democrats are like, really, and one of the things that, and Pod Save America really discussed this in depth, that the entire, Democrat playbook were luxury beliefs that were believed by extremely wealthy, extremely white, extremely privileged, extremely coastal elite, highly educated people, right? And that their privilege and their wealth and their positions as Caucasians allowed them to believe things that were not even remotely true, right? And so almost everything the Democrats believe were luxury beliefs, right? And a lot of that did go into Dungeons & Dragons, right? But now, I can tell you right now, Dungeons & Dragons is getting a lot more base very quickly, okay? That's a different video, but trust and believe, it's definitely happening, right? And a lot of the stuff that they, were pushing between 2020 and 2024, you're not seeing that at all in 2025. And I really think you're looking at a much more based Dungeons & Dragons, right? So the other thing that really struck me is that even you can see the politics in something all the way down to the mechanics, right? So one, at this point, I am on the conservative side, right? I definitely think that the Democrat Party just lost complete control of their ideas, and we're just believing in utter nonsense, right? And so they need to prove some stuff before they can get back in power. So I'm on the right now, right? And to be super clear, I voted for Obama twice, right? There was no way I was going to, watch the opportunity to put the first, marginalized group in as a, as president. And I do believe at the time, in 2008, African Americans were definitely a marginalized group, right? I do think that changed, when Obama came in. If you have the highest seat of power, are you marginalized? If you're literally, if your hand's on the button, are you still a marginalized group? I don't know. That's a good question, in my humble opinion, right? So that's interesting, because, like, at that point, President Obama was in for 8 years. People were like, oh, we got problems with the police. Well, you had 8 years to fix it. Or like, why didn't the fixes happen then? And if the fixes didn't happen then, some of the ownership is on that group now. That's kind of interesting, right? So in my humble opinion. So yeah, so I think it was, one, I'm so thrilled to see more people talking about Dungeons & Dragons in context to politics, because in my humble opinion, you cannot actually discuss Dungeons & Dragons without discussing American politics. It is intimately bound to American politics, right? So I'm really thrilled to see Tabletop Family talking about politics in context to Dungeons and Dragons. So all that, I'm going to leave right there. Thank you, Tabletop Family, for an excellent video. I really enjoyed the video. I thought it was excellent, and I really like that you're trying to get conversation started, and I'm proud to be part of that conversation. Please receive this in the way that I am throwing it out there. Thanks so much for your video. I really dig your channel, and I wish you all the best as you continue to go forward. And thank you for letting me respond to your question. Every single word you just heard in this video is my humble opinion. Nothing more, nothing less. The important part is when I get to hear your humble opinion. When you get in the comments or make your own video and send it to me, please consider like, subscribing, and have a fetch millennium.